Remember when packets and bottles of cooking oil suddenly disappeared from the supermarket shelves early in 2025, with stock running out just hours after arriving? And that supply squeeze happened while crude palm oil prices surged, hitting near 4,500 ringgit per ton during that period. So, if crude palm oil prices jump 10 to 15%, it is not just affecting plantation companies like Sime Darby, it is also affecting even your grocery bill. But here's the part most people don't realize. By the time you feel it at the supermarket, traders would have already reacted often much earlier, and this happens in the futures market, specifically through one contract, FCPO, short for Crude Palm Oil Futures. But before that, let's first understand what crude palm oil is, or in short, CPO. CPO is a plant-based oil extracted from the pulp of the oil palm fruit. And before you think it's only used for cooking purposes and food products like processed foods, snacks, instant noodles, cooking oil, ice cream, chocolate, margarine, etc., let me tell you, palm oil can also be found across products such as cosmetics like lipsticks, toiletries like toothpaste, shampoo and soap, candle, and even in biodiesel. And precisely because of that, it is a key agricultural commodity globally. And Malaysia is among the world's top crude palm oil producers and exporters. In fact, the second largest producer globally. Now, together with our neighbor Indonesia, we account for 85% of global palm oil supply. And because of this concentration, price movements are highly sensitive. And before you think price movements have nothing to do with you, and why should you even care about CPO, think again. Palm oil is one of Malaysia's biggest exports, so when CPO prices go up, more money flows into the country. And when prices drop down, the support disappears. And over time, that can influence how people, and more importantly, investors feel about the Ringgit Malaysia as well. But it doesn't just stop at national and companies level, because palm oil is widely used in food manufacturing as well. If CPO prices rise sharply, food producers face higher costs, and those costs eventually reach consumers like you and I. And that's how commodity movements quietly turn into food inflation. Take 2022 for example, CPO future price spiked around March to April, and then just a month later, our CPI and food inflation followed the same pattern, showing obvious spikes around May and all the way to July. And just like every other commodity, the price of CPO is largely shaped by supply and demand. Let's start with supply. Since Indonesia and Malaysia together supply around 85% of global palm oil, the inventory level and output of these two countries matter a lot. Malaysia's production recently hit a strong year in 2025, but going into 2026, output is expected to decrease. And this has something to do with the structural issue that Malaysia is facing: aging plantations. A significant portion of our oil palm trees are over 19 years old, and older trees usually produce less efficiently, and replanting them takes time and capital. A well-executed program costs around 30,000 ringgit per hectare, and that's about 200 ringgit per tree, assuming 1 hectare can plant up to 150 trees lah. And then you still need to wait for 2 to 3 years before the trees even start producing fruits. And what's even worse, the replanting rate in Malaysia has been very low, only 2.3% in 2023 and 2% in 2024, far below the ideal target of 4 to 5% annually. And to add salt to the wound, we are now facing a labor shortage. And all these eventually limit how fast supply can expand. And at the same time, Indonesia's output is expected to increase by just 2 to 3% in 2026 compared to 8% in 2025. And on top of all of this, Indonesia's state government is also seizing illegally used land, including those used for oil palm plantation, which the land takeover might also affect productivity. And beyond this is a non-controllable factor: weather disruption, particularly in two forms, El Nino and La Nina. When El Nino happens, usually starts around mid-year and peaks at year-end, it causes drought, hot and dry conditions. And then, while La Nina happens, normally around October to December, it usually leads to heavy rainfall and floods. And both of these conditions are not favorable to palm oil production at all, usually leading to lower supply and hence price increase. Now, demand is where things get interesting, because palm oil demand is actually very much affected by the availability and price of substitutes. What do I mean by that? Well, palm oil competes inside a broader edible oil complex, and precisely because of that, major consuming countries often switch between different types of oils based on cost effectiveness. For example, if say soybean production in Brazil increases and soybean oil becomes cheaper, then demand can rotate away from palm oil. And then when soybean oil becomes expensive, palm oil becomes attractive again. And just so you know, soybean is not the only substitute here. We still have sunflower oil and also rapeseed oil. And all these are affecting how palm oil gets priced. And this is not just some theoretical story. India, the world's largest palm oil importer and Malaysia's largest palm oil buyer, has always been highly price sensitive, and they adjust their purchases based on price competitiveness and then switch from one substitute to another. And then it's not just India, China, the world's second largest importer and also the third largest consumer of palm oil, is also doing the same thing. In fact, China's demand for palm oil is expected to further decline this year as they shift to cheaper canola and soybean alternatives. But let's talk about something that quietly moves palm oil prices more than most people realize: the biodiesel mandate. You see, biodiesel is a renewable, biodegradable fuel produced from animal fats, recycled restaurant grease, or vegetable oils like palm oil. And governments usually implement a mandatory blend of palm oil into diesel fuel for a few reasons: to reduce imports on fossil fuels, boost domestic palm oil consumption, and also lower emissions. For example, Indonesia implemented the B20 program back in 2018 and then gradually increased it to B30, and it is now standing at B40 in 2026. And that mandate basically means a ratio of 40% palm oil to 60% diesel is required. And at B40 level, they already have the world's highest blending rate. And even so, they are now aiming to bring it to B50. For comparison, Malaysia's mandate is only at around 10 to 20%. So, depending on whether the B50 mandate gets pulled off this year, if really pulled off, Indonesia will automatically absorb more palm oil domestically, and thus less palm oil will be available for export to the rest of the world. And a tighter global supply usually means price increase. But as of January 2026, the Indonesian government said that they will scrap the plan this year. Hence, Indonesian palm oil inventories are likely to remain higher. And on top of Indonesia, the European Union deforestation regulation, as well as the final announcement of the US biodiesel policy for 2026 and 2027, which is expected in March, would also further influence the price directions. So when we talk about supply and demand, it's not as simple as production level and how much we consume. It has a lot to do with policies as well. And in fact, these policies play a huge role in determining the CPO price. And this is where it gets interesting, because markets, especially traders, don't just wait for official announcements. The moment traders sense that biodiesel policy might tighten supply, they already act on it, and they are constantly negotiating what they believe supply and demand will look like in the coming months, way before physical shipments happen. And yes, those expectations get expressed immediately in the futures market, before plantation earnings are revised, before headlines are written. Prices would have already moved first. If this is your first time hearing about futures, well, a futures contract is basically a standardized agreement made today to buy or sell an asset at a fixed price on a future date. And in the case of FCPO, crude palm oil futures, that asset is crude palm oil. And this FCPO is denominated in Malaysian Ringgit, and it is one of the most actively traded contracts on Bursa Malaysia Derivatives market. And it attracts both plantation companies that want to lock in prices to hedge against price volatility, all the way to retail investors who just want to profit from price movements. And all of this happened without touching a single oil palm tree. And most importantly, FCPO contract is Sharia compliant. And although Indonesia is the largest producer, the crude palm oil futures on Malaysia's Bursa exchange are seen as a global benchmark for palm oil prices. The FCPO contract is standardized, meaning you don't need to negotiate the contract size or the rules. Every FCPO contract represents 25 metric tons, and the minimum price fluctuation is 1 ringgit, which translates to 25 ringgit per contract per tick. So every time FCPO moves by 1 ringgit, your profit or loss moves by 25 ringgit for one contract as well. So let's say it's now February and a March FCPO contract is trading at 4,000 ringgit per ton. If you believe prices will rise, you buy one contract at 4,000 ringgit. So if the price really moves to 4,300 ringgit and you close the trade, you have effectively gained 300 ringgit per ton. And since every contract represents 25 tons, that's 7,500 ringgit of profit per contract. Of course, vice versa, futures amplify both gains and losses because it's a leveraged product. Now, on the other hand, if you think the prices will fall instead, you can sell short at 4,000 ringgit and buy back at 3,700 ringgit later, earning 300 ringgit per ton or 7,500 ringgit per contract. And that's how futures markets allow you to trade in both bull and also bear markets, whether for short-term trading, for hedging, or just managing overall portfolio risks. But before I go on and show you where and how to trade futures, here's something that you need to know. Futures trading involves margin. When you open a futures position, you need to deposit what's called an initial margin, and the margin requirement varies depending on volatility and contract type, and is set by Bursa Malaysia Derivatives clearing. And then once your position is open, you must maintain a minimum account equity level called maintenance margin. And if your account falls below that level because the market moves against you, you'll receive a margin call. If you don't top up or reduce your position, then the broker can liquidate your position automatically. And just to be clear, margin is not just a palm oil thing. Margin technically applies to all futures contracts. And speaking of other futures, on the global level, there are also a variety of them, such as the equity index futures, crypto futures, energy futures, metals futures, and other agriculture futures like corn and soybean as well. And all of these can be traded with the right broker that supports derivatives trading, such as Bursa Malaysia, who is well licensed and regulated by the Securities Commission Malaysia. With just one app, you can trade not only Malaysia and global futures, but also stocks from Bursa, US, Hong Kong, and China A-shares market. And don't worry if you don't have an account with them yet, because you are just right in time. Webull is now offering lots of great perks. They are now giving new users of this channel 2 major rewards as long as you sign up with my link or exclusive code Z888. First one, 200 ringgit worth of Nvidia shares, and all you have to do is to deposit just 1,000 ringgit and keep it for 60 days. The second one, earning 6% per annum, capped at 50,000 ringgit for 45 days with their Moneybull feature. Remember, this exclusive offer is available until the 31st of March 2026, so faster sign up after watching this video. Terms and condition applies. Okay, so if you have decided to open a Webull account, here's what you need to do. Go to the settings, manage brokerage account, and then scroll down to futures and make sure your futures account is activated and approved. And once that is approved, the next step is funding your futures account. And inside the app, you must transfer funds from your securities account into a derivatives trading account. And this is because you can't trade futures from your securities account. The capital must sit in a derivatives account due to margin requirements that I've mentioned earlier. But one good thing about Webull is the intraday margin, which offers a lower margin at 40% margin requirement only during specific trading windows, such as 9:30 AM to 5:30 PM. But bear in mind that after the window ends, margin requirements return back to normal levels. Anyways, once funding is done, you are basically all set to trade. And to explore different futures, go to Market, Futures, and then choose either US or Malaysia, and then click on the specific future, and then you'll get everything you need to know about the particular future contract in the app itself. For example, the initial margin requirement for this contract, different contract months available for trade, and also the contract specifications. And when you're ready to trade, click the trade button and you can enter your position like how you normally buy a stock. Now, to monitor your position, you can go to Account Overview and click on your Futures account and then tap into Details, and you will see a nice dashboard of your asset allocation, margin, cash balance, and risk level. It will tell you whether you are at a safe level or otherwise. A pretty good reminder, I would say, especially when you have many positions to monitor. So, the next time you hear about weather disruption, biodiesel mandates, or just soybean harvest, remember this: before prices change at the supermarket, the futures market has already moved, and FCPO is precisely where the expectations get priced first. If you understand it well, it is actually not too complicated. It's just a structured way for the market to price expectations ahead of what's about to happen, be it supply shifts, biodiesel policy changes, or just even oil substitution. And yes, all of that shows up first in the futures market. And allow me to say this again, if you do want to access to futures, having the right platform matters. So sign up for a Webull account right now, because on top of the free 200 Ringgit Nvidia shares and 6% per annum that I've mentioned earlier, starting 1st January 2026, Webull is offering 0 commission on US stocks for 1 year. And new users enjoy this for 365 days from account activation date, while existing users can still enjoy it until the end of 2026. As for Malaysia stocks, commission will just be 0.05% with a minimum of 2 Ringgit 50 cent only. So quickly sign up with my exclusive link down below or code Z888 before the campaign ends. Thanks for watching.